Switching things on and off in the 51 car for Rick Kelly. We might see if we can get to the bottom of that.
They're not sure what the problem is at the moment, but Rick Kelly's been given the instructions. Switch them on, switch them off. Now, Lowndes out of the car, Seaton back in. Greg Rust.
Interesting here, Matty, that Glenn Seaton has opted back for the open face helmet for this stint. We've been used to him this season in the full face helmet, but for most of Glenn's career, he's run the open face with that for this stint. Quick stop here from FPR, just fuel and tyres and a driver change. And see how much longer before car 6 ventures out. Boy, they ran it right to the bone, didn't they?
Sure did.
Back to basics for Cito. He told us earlier that he'd be going back to the open face helmet because fatigue's starting to build in. It's getting hot and cluttered in there. He's not coping with it.
Did you see how psyched he was when he got in? His eyes were wide open. He's ready for battle. You tend to leap in there and you expect that it's all going to happen in 10 seconds, and it's almost a relief that, oh yeah, there's fuel to go in and there's wheels and tyres to go on. Then you settle down and double check your belts and make sure everything's switched the right way, switch the reserve off, put the mains back on.
Well, the message we're hearing to Rick Kelly in car 51 is to switch the oil pumps off. And we're not quite sure why he's been given that instruction. Maybe a drama in car 51 will follow that.
Or it may be that it just doesn't require them on at the moment. Incidentally, as we build up towards the Lexmark 300 in the Gold Coast in a couple of weeks, they're racing in Mexico this weekend in the Kart World Series, and if you're following that series, Paul Tracy has pole position. He's leading the championship from Tiago Montero, his best qualifying performance of the year, and Bruno Jonquera is third.
Things are still shaking down on the leaderboard, but Rick Kelly is in position number 3 on the road. On our corrected time, we've got him in slot number 1. Oil pumps off. The Kmart racer.
He's done a fantastic job today. Rick Kelly really has shown a great turn of speed and great maturity. Very difficult circumstances, really come of age today, put in a maximum pressure situation. And he really has come through in flying colours. Here's the Aussie male Ford, car 21. Well, there's problems with the throttle. Looks like they may have cured that throttle drama. And these wheels,
takes a while to rattle them off,
doesn't it, sometimes?
Particularly if the bottles are down slightly on pressure.
John Bowe gets in. There's your race conditions. So you can see the ambient has dropped 18 degrees. Track temperature now under 30. Fuel going in. And, oh, he stalled it.
Time and time again it happens at this race up and down pit lane.
It's so hard because, you see, unlike the days when you didn't have the pit lane speed limit, you could use any amount of throttle to get out. You can't use that now, Matty, so when you go for a bit more throttle percentage, often it will just cough and die with the tall diff and the big fuel load.
One more.
At the monitor here, sorry, Marco, and car 6 has posted its fastest time on lap 107 at 2:09.12.
Oh.
Pump your brake pedal on, pump your brake pedal.
Had a drama.
Green button for 2 seconds, please. Reset your brake balance and reset your bars. Over.
That's Lee Geyer, Chief Engineer for car 17. And they're still trying to keep this car going after that electrical drama put them out of contention. Great shame because the Shell 17 car was a real hard hitter this weekend.
Find out what's happening at Kmart, car number 51. Rusty, can you enlighten us?
Well, I can, Matty. The team don't seem too worried at this stage. The explanation I've been given is that they were just telling him to pump some of the oil from the catch tank back into the main tank. With some of the high G loadings they get around this circuit, invariably you get a bit of spillover from the main tank into the catch tank, just to make sure that there's enough main oil circulating through this car. They've just got him to pop the excess back into the main tank.
Rusty, while you're there, you might want to ask him why the lights are flashing on and off on the car too. Just noticed, picked up that they're flashing on and off as Rick drives around.
You know Morse code, you blokes?
Yeah, sometimes they use them as signals, other times they use them to let the guy in front of them know that they're applying maximum pressure, but there's nobody in front or behind of young Rick Kelly at the moment. Are there some dramas starting to appear in car 51? Who We always talk about buying a ticket to the end of this race. Well, that ticket needs to be purchased about now. This is it on...
This is fifth, playing fourth in the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000. Marcus Ambrose having a crack at Glen Seaton. Down Conrod straight into the chase here. Under brakes, Ambrose looking to pull off a move. Cannot squeeze up the inside, but the opportunities will come, as that is clearly a faster BA Falcon at the moment. Up front, we have Kelly versus Kelly. Rick partnering Greg Murphy today, and Todd in second place partnering Mark Scaife, and they have a 13-second buffer on Luke Youlden. Then we have this battle between Seaton and Ambrose, and it's very much a family affair this year, because earlier in the race, you might recall, we had Richards and Richards up front.
Seaton's under the pump a bit here in that last couple of laps. They were 2.12s between Seaton and Ambrose as they dogfighted each other. Now he pulls away and gets a bit of a breather away from car number 4. Here is car 51, Rick Kelly. And I'm pretty sure we've got Greg Murphy on the line down in the garage. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Greg, we're just trying to work out if there's any problems technically or anything like that with car 51. Or is he just flashing his lights to let us know he's having a good time?
No, it's actually just something wrong with the switch, the light switch on the steering wheel. I noticed it when I was out there, that the little diode kept flashing on and off, so it's obviously a switch problem there somewhere, but there's no mechanical, no electrical problem. It just is helping itself to turn itself on whenever it wants.
Now, Murph, we heard a radio message to Rick, something about switching off some pumps. What's the story there?
Oh, it's just the oil overflow into the catch tank. We just pump it back into the oil tank, basically, so that's all it does. So when it spits a bit out into the catch tank, we just it's been every 50 odd laps, we just turn it on for a lap just to pump it back into the main tank.
Well, I've got to hand it to you, blokes. The speed of this car 51, is an absolute rocket ship, and it doesn't seem to be changing no matter what the track conditions or weather conditions throw at it.
Oh, I hope not, mate. We've still, 50 odd laps to go, so let's just hope that it maintains that beautiful running that it's doing at the moment. And Rick's doing a fantastic job out there, and the two Kelly boys, 1 and 2, I'm looking at the timesheet there, and Todd's putting a bit of pressure on at the moment, trying to catch up, so we'll have to get Rick's to throw in a few flyers.
He's just done a 10 flat, Murph, and Todd's done a 9.6. He's not far from your best time, which was a 9.7. You'll have to get a hurry on when you get back out there, mate.
No, that's all right. He can go faster than he likes.
You're comfortable with the strategy, state of play, Murph? You guys running a more traditional strategy, I guess, against the guys like Scaife and Todd Kelly, who came in on 13 and 17, but that safety car would have helped you?
Yeah, listen, I think it's probably actually going to turn out that the last pit stop, but for all the cars, is going to be pretty close. I think what they did early on with the safety cars that have been out there, that'll probably change, and we'll find that their last stop's pretty close to our one. So already I think it's within sort of 3 or 4 laps. So they've come to us because of the safety cars.
We're calculating your next stop, Greg, at lap 136, which only gives you a relatively short window then to 161 of about 25 laps.
That's nice. I don't have to spend all afternoon in the car then, do I?
You go out
Thanks.
there.
Well done, boys. Thanks for letting me know that.
Anytime, check in. We can guide you through the race later on if you want. Thanks, mate.
Okay.
Enjoy that last stint.
Cheers.
Well, Rick Kelly, for a bloke who's only just 20 years of age, he's driving with great maturity here. He was a Formula Ford rookie back in 2000. He missed out on the title by 1 point to Luke Youlden, the man who's chasing him in 3rd place. It goes to show what a great development the Formula Ford category is.
He's just all alone out there at the moment, isn't he, Rick Kelly? He's 12.9 seconds ahead of Todd Kelly. So there's a long way in between first and second, but there's also no back markers to get in his way.
Youlden's picked his pace up substantially in this stint. He didn't really get the hammer down as comfortable as he would have wanted to in that opening stint, and Wally Walburn was on the phone just giving him a zing along here and there, but in this stint he has responded. Very often the second stint for drivers up here is far more comfortable. You're knuckled down, you're not affected by the pre-race nerves. Sometimes you don't know what to expect when you've not done a lot of running up here with these cars, when they're fat and heavy with fuel and they lack tyre grip after a few laps. Once you understand the rhythm and how much more you can get out of yourself and your car around here, particularly with across the top of the mountain flow, the second stints are just so enjoyable.
best seat in the house is going to be in pit lane in around about 20 laps. It's just going to be diabolical down there as the nerves start to build, because that'll be the final shot. And then it's just a blast to the end.
Car 66 mixed in amongst this bunch here. That's the Dean Canto Matthew White Better Electrical car. Under 888 Racing Australia's ownership of the sale from John Briggs. And there's an attack here under brakes by the Aussie Mail car. So this is a battle between White and Bauer for 7th spot.
You generally sweat less in your second stint as well. Probably because you've already had one exposure to the car, and I think it's very much a mind over matter situation in the second stint. You look at the drivers often when they get out of the car the second time round, and they'll nearly always tell you, well, I could have done another back-to-back stint, no problem at all, get back in, no drama. Ask a few of them after the first stint and they're really happy to be hoisted out of it.
Great drive too from Marcus Marshall. He's sharing car 16 with Ritter, and he's driving in the Carrera Cup this year, but he's doing a great job here in the V8 Supercar.
The comparison at the front of the field between Rick and Todd. Remember Rick, the younger brother of Todd, over those last 4 laps, and it looks as though Todd's been eating into the times of his brother ahead in car 51, but the gap is still 13.0 seconds between car 51 and car 1. The battle group that we're looking at right now is 16, Marcus Marshall. 21 is John Bowe. 66 is Matthew White. And car number 2 is Tony Longhurst. So Bowe got the position off White. He's in 7th.
Just joined by a rubber band, aren't they? Very, very close. Just a little lock brake there on the inside left as Marshall muscles the nose of the car into the apex of the elbow. Down Conrod Straight once again. So this is a strong performance from the Team Brock Commodore. The other car went out early. A crash on the mountain with Paul Wheel.
Just overheard a radio conversation with Greg Murphy coaching Rick Kelly, saying, can you just run a bit closer to the apex in the dippy? It looks to me as though you're a little bit wide. So no matter how relaxed he may look to us, Murph wants this thing to be hustled along.
JB gives Marcus Marshall a little hustle along as well, a little bit of a tap. Enough to upset car 16 under Murray's corner. He'll get him.
Beautiful move by Bowe, and Marcus Marshall shows maturity there, gives him racing room.
I'm a little bit surprised why the number 2 car's where it is at the moment, and I don't really have an answer for it, because they seem to have... Oh, that's ugly.
And that now slow exit speed from that corner. Matthew White is vulnerable to car 2. Tony Longhurst ranges alongside as they head up Conrod Mountain Straight, I should say. Who's going to give in? Matthew White's well positioned on the inside. He will hold that position as they come up through Conica Corner.
One of a few drivers who doubled up here in the Conica race. Warren Luff was another. And, of course, the Carrera Cup as well. Marcus Marshall's been campaigning throughout that. And here's car 2 with Tony Longhurst on board. He is in position at number 9. Former winner at the mountain. The question is, who will join the great names? Is Rick Kelly headed towards his first title at the age of 20? Can Greg Murphy do it again? They've been the guys to beat all weekend. And right now, they've got the strategy in place and the car speed in place on the mountain. And Billy, you don't reckon that the Kelly brothers are having a great family scrap across the mountain? The gap now is 10.5 seconds, and as Todd has been progressively putting down good times, Rick has just answered back with a 2:09.54.
Versus Todd at 2:09.8. Both Rick Kelly and Luke Youlden, who's 3rd at the moment, are being coached by their respective elders. Greg Murphy's been on the phone to Rick saying, come on, sneak it along. And Luke Youlden's got Wally Walburn pushing him as well, saying we've got to give Steve Ellery every opportunity to be in a position at the end of this race to strike.